Dragon Ball Super Episode 57, hailed as one of the greatest episodes of Dragon Ball Super, is now officially listed in the history books, and today, guys, we're going to go ahead and dive into the official dialogue to find out what exactly was said between Zamasu, Goku Black, Trunks, Vegeta, and Gowasu. So without wasting any time, guys, let's go ahead and begin. And keep in mind, this video will contain loads of spoilers, so if you guys have not seen the episode, tune off, go watch the episode, and come back so we can talk more Dragon Ball Super. But without wasting any time, as you guys can see on your screen, Zamasu pretty much tells Goku, "I came to meet you," which can be interpreted and conceived in many different ways. Either this is the first time future Zamasu has seen Goku, or he's been waiting for him the entire time. And that's when Goku replies by saying, "I didn't expect you and Black to be allies." And Zamasu replies by saying, "We're not allies. I suppose you can call us kindred spirits." And Goku says, "Well, that doesn't change the fact that you're still our enemies." And Trunks, having to see Zamasu for the very first time, he says, "That's Zamasu." They were allies, obviously not knowing that Black and Zamasu were two entirely different people. And as Vegeta, pretty much went unconscious, he says, "I can feel his ki, he's just unconscious." Black and Zamasu weren't the same person after all, so who is Black? Everyone is wondering who is Black. If Zamasu and Black aren't the same people, then who in the world is Black Goku? And that's what Zamasu says, soon the world I desire will become real. The world that I desire, in that world humans are not needed, which yet again indicates that we as human beings ain't shit. And that's when Goku says, "I will not let you guys have your way." And then as they fight, Goku says something feels different than last time, obviously enough having somewhat of a flashback. So you have to ask yourself, like, what exactly is different when Goku engaged Zamasu, especially when he pretty much struck his hand. He says to himself that something feels different, and that's when Zamasu says, "Even amongst humans, the utterly unrefined Saiyans who have raised their power levels and feats even among the gods are particularly unneeded in my world." So in Zamasu's perfect paradise, in his perfect world, humans that have reached the power of gods are not needed either. So, and that's when pretty much Black Goku strikes Goku, trying to catch him off guard, with Goku saying, "I didn't expect him to come from my blind side." And that's when Zamasu pretty much touches down and he says, "Son Goku is supposed to be my prey." And Black replies to Zamasu by saying, "This body wants him. It doesn't look like I can stop that desire." And that's when Zamasu pretty much says, "A Saiyan, the greatest trash of all existence, who has only gained immense power inversely proportional to his spiritual imputude. Together, let us beat down and destroy that miserable Saiyan." So in the beginning, it seemed as if Zamasu and Black are sort of like hyenas fighting for a prey. So in an essence, Zamasu said, "What are you doing, Goku's mind?" with Black responding by saying this body desires him. So there seems to be somewhat of friction between these two because they both want to kill Son Goku. And that's when Trunks steps in the mix and Goku tells him this won't be easy. And as Goku is fighting Black, now this is a confirmation because some people were just saying that Black is just too fast. He wasn't able to use the instantaneous movement or the instant transmission. Goku says, "You can teleport too." So Black Goku used the instant transmission. He knows the instant transmission as seen in the manga. So that right there scratches off anybody out there who said that he does not know the instant transmission. So after Trunks had stabbed Zamasu, Trunks said his wound has healed himself. How? With Black responding by saying, "Foolish primitive life forms who have used God-given wisdom purely for your own gain," pretty much insulting us on using God-given wisdom for our own destruction. And that's when Trunks says, "Don't insult humans based on your own self-centered values." And after Trunks had unleashed the final flash attack, Zamasu replies by saying, "This immortal body, that is a true god, the ultimate body befitting for me." So Trunks was shocked because obviously enough he had stabbed him, he had unleashed a final flash, which again we're all wondering how the hell did Trunks learn the final flash, but it was still pretty cool to see. And that's when Zamasu replies by saying, "Thank you, my dear Saiyans. Thanks to your meaningless strength, this body of mine was able to obtain immortality." And Trunks even said to himself, "I've become a Super Saiyan and used my strongest technique. I know I cut him with my sword, but your wound healed, so what do I do?" And that's when Zamasu replies by saying, "Do you realize your own weakness now? You Saiyans and your attacks in the end are powerless against the gods. Challenge me as many times as you like until you learn your own powerlessness." And Trunks is like, "What do I do? I've made it this far, but is there nothing left for me to do?" And that's when Zamasu replies by saying, "The numerous insults you have offered the gods, it is now time for you to receive your retribution." And just as Zamasu had said that, Goku has touched down and asked Trunks what had happened, and that's when we see Black Goku charge up the Kamehameha wave. And just as Goku was about to grab Trunks and flee away, Zamasu grabbed them both. And that's when Goku says, "Don't tell me you're gonna go down with us." And obviously enough, he did not, because, Zamasu had also taken Black's Kamehameha wave and survived. And that's when Goku's on the floor, he says, "Immortality, that's not fair. And that's when Zamasu replied by saying, if I wanted a world without humans, I needed that power. And that's when Vegeta steps in, finally Vegeta having somewhat of a save here, unleashing his Super Saiyan Blue technique with the final flash, preventing Zamasu and Black from destroying Goku and Trunks. And that's when Zamasu says, oh Vegeta, to think that he still had that much power left. It would seem the warrior race won't stop struggling until they fully die. And that's when Mai and the Resistance pretty much step in to make the save, and they actually notice that they were gone. Trunks and Goku were gone. And that's when Zamasu says they don't have enough strength left to run, they should be nearby. So in retrospect, let's go ahead and finish off Vegeta first. And funny enough, Goku realizes that Yajirobe, yes, Yajirobe made the save. Finally, someone who isn't a primary character, who is a background character, makes the save. So right now, this puts Yajirobe way above Yamcha, because this is like some really cool shit. And Goku has the nerve to say, but can you stop dragging us? Like, my butt hurts. And Yajirobe's like, I can't fly like you guys. So, and Black tells Zamasu while they're in the sky looking for both Trunks, Vegeta, and Goku, he tells Zamasu they disrupted our celebration, unforgivable. And that's what Zamasu says, it doesn't really matter, they'll come back, and when that time comes, they'll meet their end of our utopia by my hand. And this is when the cool stuff happens. So we go back into the past and we see that Gowasu is sitting there drinking tea, watching the Universal God of Destruction tournament. I mean, who in the hell taped this thing in the first place? I mean, there weren't any cameras there. So that's when Zamasu tells Gowasu, so you're watching GodTube again. And that's when Gowasu replies by saying, I'm thinking of becoming a GodTuber. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Gowasu is planning on being somewhat of a YouTuber in the God realm. So we have GodTube out there. So if anybody out there can find GodTube, let me know in the comment section below. And that's when Gowasu says, all jokes aside, watch this too. And that's when Zamasu is watching Goku fight Hit, and he says a mere human has channeled himself into the power of the gods. And that's when he also notices the Super Giant Dragon Balls, and he says, Gowasu-sama, what are those planets? And that's when Gowasu replies by saying, oh, they're probably Super Giant Dragon Balls. And that's when he also says, it's for the first time that I'm seeing them for myself as well. This competition is between the Gods of Destruction from Universe 6 and 7, who are fighting for those Super Dragon Balls. And that's when Zamasu says something the Gods of Destruction would compete over. Oh, they must be special. So he realizes right now that the Dragon Balls are indeed very, very special. And that's when the episode preview, we see that Goku's like, let's go back into the future again and beat his Black and Zamasu. Obviously enough, not learning his lesson from the first time they went into the future. And that's when pretty much, you know, they say the present day Zamasu asks Zuno-sama about me and the Super Giant Dragon Balls. Ah, I just figured out what Zamasu did. So the question here is, did A, Zamasu wish for an immortal body, or B, did he also wish for something else? Did he wish for Black Goku? Because keep in mind, right in the beginning of the episode, even Trunks says, you know, if they're not one and the same person, if Zamasu and Black are not one and the same person, then who in the hell are they? Who is Black? Because we do know of Zamasu, we do know of his roots, we do know why he does things, because he feels that we have taken the knowledge that the gods have given us and we've used it for our own greed. And you guys have to also look at some of, you know, Zamasu's dialogue. And a lot of the things that Zamasu has said thus far in Dragon Ball Super are kind of true, because we as human beings have used in real life a lot of knowledge for evil, for destruction, for war, and Zamasu feels as if every single civilization should be at peace instead of fighting, because, I mean, it's also a direct contradiction, because Zamasu wants to wipe out, you know, entire civilizations based on them arguing and fighting, when Gowasu is telling him that's the way of life, you're not supposed to intervene. So he's going to be looking for the Super Giant Dragon Balls. He's going to be speaking to Zuno. He threatens Zuno into telling him everything he knows, therefore wanting to find out more information about the Super Giant Dragon Balls, in which case he does summon Zamara, the God Dragon. And of course, with that being said, I do believe that he will also wish for immortality, something that Frieza has been wanting to wish for such a long time. But towards the end of the preview, we also see Goku somewhat confront Zamasu, and you can't help but go back to the dialogue, in which case Zamasu had said, thank you, my dear Saiyans, for your meaningless strength. This body of mine was able to obtain immortality. So how in the world, and what did he mean by that? Like how in the world did he obtain immortality? One can only assume that he wished for it. But even Trunks now, even after becoming a Super Saiyan 2, was wondering how do you beat the dude? And that's when, you know, Zamasu's like, do you realize your weakness now? You can challenge me as many times as you want. And Zamasu is that strong because he was even able to take Black Goku's Kamehameha Wave and survive. He didn't have any scratches on him. The only people that were down were Trunks and Goku. So even when he threw them down on the ground, he didn't sustain any injury at all. So does this mean that Zamasu can endure more pain than Black? Is Zamasu stronger than Black, given the circumstance that he was able to take Black Goku Super Saiyan Rose Kamehameha Wave and survive like it was nothing? Obviously enough, so far, he took a sword to the chest, he took a final flash, and he took a Super Saiyan Rose Kamehameha Wave and survived. So let me know your thoughts on the dialogue down below, guys. Once again, thank you all for watching. If you guys are Dragon Ball fans, don't forget to subscribe for more awesome daily uploads. If you guys cannot wait for Dragon Ball Super Episode 58, comment down below, punch that like button square in the face, guys. Leave your thoughts and predictions down below. Tune in for the next episode, and I'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below, where everyone's going to be arguing, sharing opinions, and most likely going to be comparing Zamasu to Black, because we have to figure out who is the real boss here, like who is the main one in control. I still feel as if it's Zamasu, but let's just see what happens, guys. Thank you all for watching. God bless you all, and I'll be seeing you all later. Take it easy, guys. Peace.